See, everyone, when I make a wish, it comes true. I need to go gamble. Who wants to take me to Vegas? Teams, I'm ready to go to Vegas if you are. Maybe we should have a championship in Vegas. I know there was something in Vegas at one point. But speaking about Vegas, we rolled and we got 5, giving us configuration B, and that is with 1 ring left on the field. So let's see what these teams are about to be as we go on.
So, we've got Bruin Bots and we've got Gear Freaks. I cannot quite tell which robot is which. I believe the one in yellow is Bruin.
We'll see in a couple seconds. Yeah. I can't fully see the numbers up.
Here we go. So that is the Gear Freaks off to a rapid start. A little bit of a robot on robot contact there. That's gonna trip them up a bit.
So everyone, the Mardi Gras purple and green is the Bruin Bots.
Mardi Gras was actually last week. I forgot to have pancake. Gosh darn it.
What? You didn't do Fat Tuesday?
I didn't do it. Yep. I was busy. You know what I was busy doing on Mardi Gras? I was watching the award ceremony. That's what I was doing.
2.
Well, this week there should be no excuse because this week's award ceremony is hosted on Monday. So remember, folks, tune in tomorrow to watch the award ceremony as we showcase our teams and show you who you will be seeing in that championship.
And speaking of watching, I can't help but get the feeling that I'm being watched because 499 won the Gear Freaks. When they turn around, look at those little googly eyes they got on their robot. That's hilarious.
Hey, hopefully those googly eyes help them see the goal a whole lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody knows that googly eyes improve your aim. So they're putting up several shots into that middle goal, doing a great job of it. Unfortunately, the Bruin Bots don't quite seem to be moving. I hope they're doing all right. Their drivers are taking it.
It might be a Mardi Gras pose, you know? They're just getting ready for the parade. They haven't heard the music yet.
There we go. Yeah, so I see their drivers, taking a look at things, trying to figure out what's up. And don't forget, there was that little bit of a bump in contact in Autonomous, so it could be anything from a wire slipping loose to accidentally flipping the power switch. So if you have a power switch that could be easily flipped by another robot, that could end the match for you right there.
I remember one of my power switches was just barely inside of the robot, and we still somehow managed to get powered off because of someone's manipulator arm that got extended.
Yep.
And so when they turned into us, it just barely collided.
So we've got 2 power shots down here in endgame, trying for a third. Ooh, just missed it, and the timer's about to go off. There it is, but a very respectable score, unofficially, of 82 points. So that's 8 mid-goal shots, 2 power shots there in endgame, and a autonomous points as well. So we'll get the full breakdown when we get the final score here. And that was mostly due to the Gear Freaks. Unfortunately, the Bruin Block were unable to move, so hopefully they will get that issue fixed, because I cannot wait to see what these guys look like at their full potential.
And see, what really makes me think that it's almost Mardi Gras themed is they have those purple party hats over there with them as well. Now, we've been talking about teams and their wonderful layouts, their wonderful color coordination and such, and just look at that. Gear Freaks coming out in their jerseys, Bruin Bots coming out with all of their wonderful layouts, and with 82 points, that 20-point autonomous, 32-point driver control, and 30-point endgame is going to set teams up perfectly to keep rising through the ranks.
Absolutely.
Now let's hope they get all those Kingston beads out of their Mardi Gras bot so that way it's ready for the next match. And let's hope the Gear Freaks keep it freaky and keep it fun as they go into this next round.
And of course, we hope that the Bruin Bots can show their claws as well. Can't wait to see the performance of their robot. Hopefully, it's a quick fix. It's a simple little tweak, and we'll see them on the field again. Because it seems like a really cool robot that they made, and I'd love to see it perform. All right.
Speaking of things that are really cool, isn't it really cool when we get to see all of our alumni and all of our mentors and volunteers?
It absolutely is.
I also think it's really cool how Booz Allen Hamilton sponsors the Alumni Ambassador Program to allow alumni to give back to their teams or to a team of their choice. Not to mention how it's so cool that Northrop Grumman sponsored this stream.
Oh yeah, love those sponsors. Because without them, none of this would be able to happen, and we really appreciate them. And those guys aren't sponsoring us for no reason, They're sponsoring this program because we are their future employees. No, not Niall and I, but the students that we're watching here today get excited about STEM, get excited about engineering documentation.
I'm not going to say no if they offer me a paycheck.
That's true, yeah.
Northrop Grumman, Leidos, Qualcomm, Booz Allen Hamilton, anybody else, if you need somebody to come speak for you, I'm here,
There we go. Yeah, Niall's ready. Show your resume to the camera next chance that we get.
That's a little bit much. We stick with that. We stick with
there we go. All right.
I like. Can we get that camera real quick where Gear Freak is all up in the view? Look at all the sponsors that they have out, and look at how detailed their actual uniform is.
Yeah, that's a real sports jersey right there.
Gears, you can see everything that's out on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love to see that.
And even with some of these other teams, they may not have had as expensively built or as stylized of a design, but just to see all of those sponsors that all of the teams have and all the different ways that they're represented, because different teams actually do boast different sponsors. I know in DC, one of our biggest sponsors is Google. And so a lot of the DC teams have a lot of Google paraphernalia and a lot of different Google memorabilia. And then some of the other teams that I've seen get sponsored by, we've seen Papa John's as a sponsor. We've seen gas companies. We've seen even other school districts be sponsors. We've seen some of these organizations have different churches and religious organizations as a sponsor. There are so many ways to be sponsored with these teams, and there are so many different organizations that love to support. So even if you feel that you may not be able to afford a team of your own, you can always try to reach out to your community and get community sponsorships. And FTC is a very affordable league to get into. We speak about it all the time. The league that I came from, FRC, yes, we spend a lot of money. We spend about $10,000 every year. And that may be out of a lot of people's budgets. But being on an FTC team they mostly talk about spending $2,000. And some teams even spend less.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's the goal of FIRST, is that we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get excited about technology. We don't want there to be a paywall, if you will, to get into STEM education. We want this to be available all over the world, because FIRST is a international organization. And we really hope to compete with teams at the World Championship later this summer, if we can. The plans for the World Championship are still kind of up in the air at this
Speaking
moment.
of things up in the air, robots are about to put those rings up in the air as we go into configuration B.
All right, here's the countdown and the start. Again, Gear Freaks very fast off the line, lining up into position. I think they're going to try to go for those power shots. Unfortunately, they missed a few of them.
They got one.
They hit one. Might have hit a red one too, but the important thing is that they hit one.
I see one red one and I see one blue one.
There we go. All right. Not bad at all. A great way to start off.
Red and the right on blue.
Yeah, and they also got that parking point.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen the Bruin bot spring back to life yet. Maybe that bear is still in hibernation. We'll see when the clock starts over again.
All right, so we're into Teleop, but I'm seeing neither robots move. Oh, there we go. Gear Freaks are up and back to life. Bruin bots are furiously troubleshooting over on their half. Cannot wait to see the performance of their robot, and we completely get it. Sometimes things just don't quite work out. So we wish you guys the best of luck.
As we said earlier, I'm gonna say, as I said earlier, sometimes nothing works and no one knows why.
Hey!
But now the bear had woken up from its slumber.
Right.
As it ripped straight across the field. And now that wobble goal is eligible so long as it stays on that side of the line.
That's right. It doesn't need to be moved there in autonomous. It just needs to be in that zone by the time it reaches endgame. Bruins are taking a shot. Unfortunately, it's going to go into the middle goal. Hopefully, they can make the necessary adjustments to hitting the high goal. Because the high goal is what everybody's aiming for during Teleop. So Gear Freaks have sent a couple into the mid goal over on the far side of the field. And it looks like Bruins are taking their turn, getting positioned. The clock's counting down. It's getting to be about end of game time. Lobbing a couple shots.
Last see what these two teams line up to do. They might go for some more power shots, but I definitely see that bear sticking out its claw as it takes off and goes for that wobble goal.
That's right. It's going to take some expert precision to line up with that wobble goal. And the issue is right now in these final seconds is that the Bruin bots kind of were right in front of their alliance.
They backed up for that last power shot, though. They backed up out the hard to get that power shot.
Yes, maybe they had some communication going on across the field. You know, they said, "Hey, we're trying to take a power shot," and then that let them back out of the way. So, communication is absolutely a key point of working with an alliance. So, you're no longer in your own garage practicing on your own field. You've got that alliance partner there, and you got to work with them rather than working against them. And here we go with our final score.
47. But
right.
Teams, remember, even if you aren't used to working with an alliance partner, even if you are used to having a field to yourself, there are many other things that you can do. I've seen teams put up milk crates and milk cartons as makeshift robots that are in the way. I've seen teams put up wobble goals and throw them around randomly just to say, hey, look, let's get to it. Let's pick it up. How does it work if I need to manipulate it? Let's stack 4 rings diagonally in a corner somewhere because it might get lost. What are all these different random layouts that can occur and all these random variables that can happen that allows me to then benefit and capitalize?
Mm-hmm.
And so I talk about when my teams used to drive, I would either drive around in our school's lots and we would put random things out in the lot for us to drive over, or even just being in the gym and we would have stuff like after gym class, letting them leave all the balls and such where they lie and seeing how long it took for our robot to identify track, get to a ball, identify track, get to the next ball, identify track, avoid this, get to that. If we were dealing with a ball of a certain size, hey, how long does it take you to pick apart what's a first ball versus what's a regular ball? Get to that first ball, pick it up, do what you need to do with it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we certainly can't wait to see. So that was their second match. Already a fine improvement over their first match. Got to see the Bruins there come to life. Hopefully they can continue to improve as we move on to qualification match number 83. They seem to be making a few tweaks, not working on the robots all that much. just making sure that they're all polished up and ready to go. Just waiting on that field to be reset. But we absolutely encourage teams to make use of this downtime. Talk to your partner, talk to your drivers, figure out what works, what didn't work, and what you want this next match to look like. Okay. So we got Gear Freaks taking
the one thing that we see over there is them moving their bot into position over on that side.
And here we go. Yeah, so fantastic jerseys, of course, as we said by the Gear Freaks. Can't wait to see more of their little googly eyes on the front of their robot. That is just absolutely fantastic.
I'm trying to remember, what were some of the other teams that had googly eyes on it? Didn't Caitlin say her team had googly eyes on hats as well?
Can't quite remember. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's such an easy spirit item to add. And
it just gives that much more personality.
No, yeah, they could go on just about anything, and they make it that much funnier.
And to go along with what the Twitch chat is saying, yes, it's loud, but it's not impossible. I've definitely dealt with loud air conditionings. I know all of us have dealt with loud arenas filled with screaming fans. And I would rather deal with white noise than confusing noise. Because when you have a bunch of fans yelling at you, they yell a bunch of different commands all at once.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for a specific command or a specific call out, white noise isn't going to trick you into hearing a call out.
Mm-hmm.
People yelling in the stands just might be able to trick you into hearing a different call out, making you do something that would otherwise alter your plans for the game.
That's right. And that's why it's so critical for the drivers to remember how to filter out all that noise, because when we're in in-person competitions, parents will be cheering for their students, coaches, and don't forget, there's 3 other teams with you on the field with their parents and their coaches telling them to do stuff. So it's so confusing, but as a driver, you need to remember the only voice that really matters to you is the person standing next to you, most often. So, Bruin bots, a fantastic autonomous period. Love to see them moving like they are. Unfortunately, that wobble goal is not going to count. Taking a couple shots, none quite connecting where they wanted it to. But they will get that parking bonus. We'll see if the Gear Freaks come to life in the last few seconds of autonomous here.
Driver.
It also seems like they got a midpoint somewhere.
Yeah, so they got a mid goal for the opposing team, which is unfortunate. But hey, that's what happens. That's why First designed this game to have that mid goal count towards your opponent rather than you. A little bit of
that is one thing that's very different from a lot of years. A lot of years, when you score on your goal, that whole side was yours.
Yep.
This year, with them alternating the sides, what that definitely does is that slight error, that slight misstep, instead of either hitting a flat barricade and bouncing back, it's no. Oh, you missed. That goes to your opponent.
Exactly. And
so be careful as you dial in your shots.
Yeah. And this year in particular, it's kind of different, because here we are in First Chesapeake, where luckily we get to play with robots on the field, but we don't have opponents. We just have alliance partners. And whereas in remote matches, those who are recording and sending videos from home, they don't even have the other half of the field. They only have their half of the field. And if I remember correctly, feel free backstage to correct me on this, all 3 of those goals count towards your alliance. So if you make a mistake and shoot in the middle goal, it still counts towards your team, just not as much as, say, a high goal. So that's just the circumstance.
Power shots down in these last 30 seconds. Let's see what else they can shoot at. And
There we
the
go.
sleeping bear has sprung back to life in these last about 10 seconds of the match. They're going for that third power shot, but they did not make it. Do they have enough time to take another shot? And unfortunately, time has expired.
But that's all right. Still a much better performance than their last match, because that's what we like to see is continuous improvement. All right.
Another comment to teams. Because of the natural lighting that comes into the field, all fields, no matter where you go, depending on what venue you are in, whether it's natural lighting, fluorescent lighting, LED lighting, it will probably be different to what you used to at home. So, yes, sometimes you do have to recalibrate your vision sensors. Yes, sometimes you do have to work on whatever viewing platform you typically use, and that sometimes can affect your bots, especially during that autonomous period if you're looking to view a specific item.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is a problem that dates back to even FLL. So I remember as soon as we got to the competition site, we would rush over to the competition field and put our robots on those fields and calibrate our light sensors. And also, in FLL, there's an ultrasonic sensor. It sends out a ping of ultrasonic sound, waits for the response, and that can measure distances. But the problem with that is there was another table right next to yours when competing. And if they also had an ultrasonic sensor, then they could ping off of each other and just confuse your bots in all sorts of ways. So competitions are always quite different from how you practice. For one reason or another.
So once again, teams, we definitely encourage everyone uses that full 5-minute prep time in between each event, whether it be for those teams that have vision sensors to go recalibrate, whether it be for those teams that have driven on different surfaces and aren't necessarily used to foam tiles over a concrete floor. I know some teams are used to foam over wood, or some teams are used to foam over carpet or foam over foam. Some people have even had to put their robots outside on foam over asphalt or foam over grass.
Yep.
All of those many different variables can change how your robot will perform and how your robot will accept the field that it's on. And so, once again, depending on which light system that you all are used to working with at your home fields, some people have big overhead fluorescence. Some people have fluorescence on the side. Some people have LEDs around the entire ring of the board. There are so many different ways that are able to change lighting.
Absolutely. But we still appreciate you guys being out here, giving it your best, even if the circumstances are not quite ideal. But that is the thing about robotics is that the goal is to teach you guys to build robots that don't just work in a particular set of circumstances, but hopefully as many circumstances as possible. Just like on Mars. If we built a rover that only works on Earth, we would never have made it to Mars. And I say we made it, but of course I'm talking about the rovers. Human has yet to set foot on Mars as far as we know.
We are trying, though.
Oh yeah, it's on the to-do list. I was thinking about swinging by this afternoon if I could.
Oh, you should have already been on the rocket about 6 months ago if that was the case.
I got time. Don't wait for me. All right. Yeah, so talking about delay, we're watching this stream on a slight delay, and then it's being delayed to you guys by a few seconds. Whereas the drivers, they are driving their robots in person. They have instant feedback. You got to think about talking about the Mars rover. When that landed on Mars, it took about 12 minutes before anybody could get confirmation that it actually made it to the surface. So I could not imagine what it must have felt like in those 12 minutes. But I do know what it feels like in these 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We are off to a wonderful start on Autonomous. Unfortunately, scoring a little bit more for the Red Alliance, but there was one power shot taken down for the Blue. And I think there's one park point coming in
Pick up your controllers.
that should be as well.
2, 1.
Maybe the referee will correct it later.
Now, speaking about auto and speaking about delays, teams, definitely make sure that if you have any latency issues that you check that out and that your drivers are aware of it. I definitely remember times where my robot may have been slightly delayed and had a slight lag time, and we had to learn how to compensate for that because there was a different response time between the driver and between our shooter. And so our shooter learned that he had to hit the button about a quarter of a second before he actually wanted it to shoot. And so our driver ended up having to spend some times where they would start sitting still in certain spots just to allow our shooter to shoot. Or our driver and our shooter would work together where if our shooter said firing, our driver then stopped and locked in whatever position they needed to because they knew the exact angle that shooter was about to take.
Wow. All right, so we've got a fantastic match so far. So working off of those points in Autonomous, we've now made 8 shots into the mid goal. And I feel really bad for the Bruin bots because that robot is, once again, as soon as I start talking about it, they start moving.
When that robot hibernates and it seems to come to life, I think that robot might just have a very long auto. I think it just has a minute and a half where it sits still. Because it comes to life.
Yeah. But, hey, we're glad to see them. Looks like they're also aiming at the mid goal. And now the Gear Freaks are over on the other side aiming for those power shots. Hit one. Can they get another one? Just barely missing it.
Down.
Yeah.
I think I see 2 down.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah. It's so hard for my
I think I see
The referee see 2 down. That's what matters. Time just expires on these teams. So glad to see Bruin bots moving, even if it's occasionally. I believe they made a mid goal while they were up and moving about. Power shots, fantastic. Love them. Love to see them. Love it when teams aim for them and hit them. All right.
I love seeing these teams that can hit 2 for 1.
Oh yeah.
Now, the one shot I've yet to see is a 3 for 1. I want to see somebody come from the far opposite side and just try to clear all 3.
Yeah, it's no easy task, but it's not impossible. But it's one of those things where it's hard to plan for, you know? If it happens, awesome. And speaking of awesome, here's the final score. 81 points, 15 in Autonomous, 36 in Driver Control, and 30 in the game. So a fantastic performance from the Gear Freaks and the Bruin bots. I cannot wait to see their next match. Unfortunately, that will be their last match, but I really, really, really hope that this is the match where everything works just right for them. Both robots working well together, taking shots towards either the mid, high, or power shots. So really looking forward to this next match here for the Bruin bots and the Gear Freaks.
Speaking about things to look forward to, I'm really looking forward to next week. But before we can get to next week, we have to get through with tomorrow. And what makes tomorrow so special is that tomorrow we're going to be having our final reveal from the judges panel. This will be the final chance for our teams to make their way into our championship, our regional championship. So teams, make sure to tune in tomorrow. It is a very, very short meeting. It's normally only about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's they get through them fairly fast, but of course, they give all the due respect to the award winners.
So if you have 30 minutes to spare tomorrow, please tune in. I believe it's at about 6 o'clock.
That's when they try it.
You can always correct me if I'm wrong, but 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. tune in, and especially if your team has competed in the past few days, you should definitely already be there just to see what's going on with your teams. Stay for the entire thing because you never know. Just because you didn't win the first or second award, there are so many awards and so many words of encouragement that they like to give out to all of our many different teams. So stick around. Stick around for the entire thing.
Yep. It's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, you never really know what to expect in the award ceremonies. And something that I really do miss is the ability, as a coach and as a former student, being in person at competitions was always great, because when teams had their pits, you could clearly see, all right, this team like has a lot of like stuff on display about their outreach. So let me go ask them about their outreach, and then I'll talk with them and get to learn more about what they did and why. And I'm like, okay, well, these guys are clearly a contender for the Connect Award. I certainly hope that they get it. Whereas now, all you see is this fantastic screen. You know, you can't quite learn about other teams the way you used to. So it's really anybody's guess, as to how well you did in terms of outreach, spirit, and cool design mechanisms.
And speaking about things that we see, we're about to say, hey, as they go into configuration A, and they're about to get underway, watching our head referee count them in, and this autonomous period is on.
All right. A nice slow block.
Waking up for their hibernation.
Dropping that wobble goal.
And they're hard. Oh, wait.
Oh,
wait.
The drivers. Yep, they shot the drivers.
You shot yourself. Please, teams, do not shoot yourselves. Do not shoot other teams. Do not shoot the referee. And don't shoot the cameras either.
Yeah, especially the cameras.
I mean, I would say if you don't shoot the referee, I don't think Caitlin would enjoy being shot at. I think she enjoys watching the action, not being in it.
Yep. This is a robotics field, not a war zone.
It feels like a war zone during those 2.5 minutes, though.
So Gear Freaks must have tweaked something on the robot, because I just saw them hit 3 high goal shots in the row from that back wall, which is incredible. They're shooting over their alliance partner right now, lining up to do another. I'm thinking that they're helped by those googly eyes. Another couple of 3 shots in a row from the Gear Freaks. That is incredible. So I wonder what they tweaked. I wonder what they tightened or loosened or greased or unclogged, because they are doing really well.
Like I said, it's those flywheels that teams are using, and that's one thing that I miss is some of those different teams and the different functions that they have.
All right. Unfortunately, Bruin bots have fallen back into their hibernation that they do so regularly. It's unfortunate, it's confusing, but it's still a really cool robot, and I can only imagine what it would look like at its full potential, going for the whole 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So still, Gear Freaks were doing a great job of shooting. I think they're going to change their focus to the power shots now. Hitting 1, hitting 2, or maybe just 1. I can't see. It's so hard. All right.
And remember, teams, if it's hard for you to see it, it's hard for us to see it. We can barely see things.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, luckily they have the head ref on site who can confirm things. Unfortunately, that was only 1 power shot. I think some got knocked back, unfortunately. So, what a way to close out those 5 matches. Certainly did a great job, both the Gear Freaks and the Bruin bots.